Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are currently standing in the studium to do one of our crafter role quests, namely the one for the woodworker, so for the carpenter, leatherworker, or weaver. And for that we talk with Jude, in search of the Azure Star. Dear, oh dear, if only he were here to help. Can I help you? Ah, goodness me, you gave me quite the scare. Do I know you? I must apologize. You've likely already gathered I'm rather easily startled. I heard you have work for me. Yes, you see, I, Jude, belong to the Faculty of Astronomy and am listed in the Classical Astronomers Association. Despite the name, I'm the sole member. Until this last year, we were far more in number, but the other students graduated just as I joined. Why remain a part of an association that, but for my efforts, is obsolete, you might ask? The reason is quite simple. I thought it would allow me free access to the telescope. Recently, however, the Faculty of Astronomy and all its constituents, the Classical Astronomers Association included, have been urged by reform to contribute to a national project. As a result, I'm unable to use the telescope at my own discretion. If only my problems had ended there. After I had taken over the association's activities, I came to learn the telescope was not only old, but in a state of total disrepair. I have, of course, since attempted to have it repaired, but no craftsman is willing to accept my request. Impatience has led me to attempt to restore it myself. All I've accomplished is making the situation worse. Beyond recovery, even. My apologies, I started to ramble. So you're a craftsman that's been sent by Kialiapo? Uh-huh. I'm terribly sorry, despite having come all this way, there's no longer any telescope to restore. Why not make a new one? Indeed, the possibility had not even crossed my mind. Oh, but I wouldn't give for one of those lenses I've heard so much about. The precision and clarity is said to be without peer, but the funding required would be astronomical. Perhaps if we forego the latest and greatest of telescope components, the modest budget I've received from the association may suffice to make one. I best get to work. Numenon will no doubt have a plethora of information on the subject of crafting telescopes. While I have an acute fear of crowded places, my desire to look upon the stars is enough to see me through the task. Or so I hope. Jude rushes off, his last words still ringing in your head. You take off in the direction of Numenon after him. So, Jude, where are you? Back there. Oh, you're here to lend me a hand in searching for the necessary tomes? Yeah. Thank you. Only one other person has ever extended me such kindness. 87.96% of those I've encountered have approached me, words dripping with honey, looking only to take advantage of my purse strings. But enough about that. Somewhere among these tomes are documents detailing the intricacies of telescopes. Let us split up and search for them. Please, should you find any relevant documents, bring them to me. A history of observatories. The Encyclopedia of Astronomical Telescopes. That sounds promising. An astronomer's comprehensive overview of star lengths. Did you stumble across any leads? To think it, you've managed to find 3 whole tomes. Excellent work. Let's have a look, shall we? A history of observatories. This appears to be all about observatories and the massive telescope they boast. The content contained within the page is near perfect. To create the telescope detailed here would require a budget on par with a national project. Let us now take a look at the Encyclopedia of Astronomical Telescopes. What a treasure of a tome. It outlines the entirety of how telescopes are made, down to the smallest details. Unfortunately, we have only enough gil to cover a fraction of the cost of the parts listed here. Let us see what this last one has to offer. An astronomer's comprehensive overview of a star lens, huh? Star lens, I've never heard of such a thing. According to this, it is an ancient tool used by astronomers to read the stars and can be produced at a reasonable cost. But what good would such an ancient tool accomplish in today's world of astronomy and optics? It doesn't even use a lens. Then again, it is within my means. Might I ask you to craft one for me? While I can only offer you the meager stipend our association receives from the studio in exchange, I hope you'd consider it. I'm in. You have my sincerest of thanks. Now then, there's little time to waste. I have already requested the use of the space, so let's make our way to the workshop. So, Jude. According to my calculations, we should have just enough in the way of funds to craft a star lens. The question that remains, however, is if it will be powerful enough to aid me in my pursuit. If only he were here. If it isn't Jude, you're looking gloomy as ever. Who's there? Oh, it's you, Jerome. Have you finally decided to join the Faculty of Astronomy? I know not which Jerome you're referring, but this one shines brighter than any of those so-called stars you gaze upon. You're the only Jerome I know. You should know that, seeing as we've been friends since childhood. Jude, I'm terribly disappointed. 10 whole years have passed since we first met. I had thought you'd grow out of it eventually, yet you insist on immersing yourself in this tedious, unrewarding work. We are pupils of a studium. It is all but blasphemy to whittle away the best of your years. No stuck between dusty old tomes. Now, why don't you set aside your wayward aspirations and join me in the Faculty of Literature? We might even be able to fetch you a decent-looking bride. I've recently joined the Poetry Lovers Club. We speak on love and life while sipping the finest of teas. Does that not sound pleasurable to you? Jerome, was it not you who introduced me to the wonders of astronomy? What made you lose interest in the subject? That is neither here nor there. I'm simply worried you're wasting away here, all on your own. Just promise me you think on it, alright? Was that your friend? I must apologize for not introducing you. That was Jerome, a childhood friend of mine. Ever since I could remember, we would spend our nights together, gazing up at the stars. It was a decade ago when it happened. The two of us took part in an astronomer's workshop. One night, when we were looking up at the night sky, we spotted a mysterious blue light. Concluding it was an unidentified celestial body, we immediately notified the studium's Faculty of Astronomy. No matter how much they searched, they were unable to find the light we had seen. In the end, the studium shuttled up to the rumblings of imaginative school children. Out of a sheer frustration, we decided to join the Faculty of Astronomy, vowing to one another that we'd one day rediscover the azure body we saw that day. Jerome, being a summer older than I, enrolled first. When I finally entered, it was as though he were a different person. All vestiges of old Jerome and the promise we had made one another forgotten. I joined this faculty hoping to fulfill our dream of a decade prior. Yet, ever timid and easily caught, I do not see how I will accomplish this alone. It was Jerome always leading the way. Without him, I'm lost. Now you've got me. You're right. With your help, perhaps there's still hope. I do not know what I can do or how far I will get, but I must at least try. Thank you very much. You've done so much for me already, but I've yet to even ask your name. It's Desiree. Desiree, I'm looking forward to working with you. Faculty of Astronomy Studium Deliveries unlocked. You may now undertake deliveries for the Faculty of Astronomy at the Studium. Speak to Jude to learn more. Okay, Jude. Desiree, let's waste no time in getting to work. I would like to ask you to craft Starlin's braces. They are arguably the most important pieces. You may not undertake deliveries from Faculty of Astronomy at the Studium. Now, what do I need? Studium deliveries. Okay, so I need items first. Alright, I get the ingredients we need. Let's get crafting. Alright, Jude. Thank you for agreeing to assist. Please deliver braces here once you've finished. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What stunning craftsmanship. Your talent is incredible. You're a star among stars. In making your first successful delivery, you've begun to earn Jude's trust. Deliver more items he needs to increase further. Thank you. Without your help, I'd have no hope of ever finishing the Starlins. Listen here, Jude. Today I'm going to show you how to make the most of what should be the best summers of your life. Huh? Are you familiar with the concept of barbecues? Barbecues? It's a culinary practice originating from the archipelagos of the coast of a new world. Curious cuts of meats are thoroughly braised over the span of half a day. Many of our peers prefer studying alone in dreary silence, but that's not so with the Poetry Club. We gather around the fire of a barbecue, discussing the finer points of literature, reciting poetry as we watch the meat smoke and sear. Perhaps the flames that sear the meat will finally ignite a fire in your heart large enough to propel you into action. At long last, you'll be able to declare your undying love for the homely, yet somehow still alluring girl. What do you say? Honestly, I do not know why you would come to me with such a proposal. Join our Poetry Club, Jude. Just have one taste and you realize exactly what you're missing out on. Jerome, you live boldly and elegantly. Unlike you, however, I'm a solitary creature. Just the thought of eating across from another is enough to send chills down my spine. Nonsense. Surely you at least take meals with your peers. You are my only friend. You jest. I never learned how to make friends. We don't teach you that in school. This is but further evidence you mustn't remain here, alone and isolated. I'll continue to visit until I get that through a thick head. Jeremiah never fails to impress me. He has so many friends who, unlike me, are all outgoing and full of cheer. He seems to be having so much fun. If only I could be more like him. Get a hold of yourself. Ah, please, if you could keep your voice down. Chin up, Jude. If you're always looking down, you forget to look at the stars. Exactly. Thank you. I feel much better now. That said, we still lack the necessary parts to complete the Starlands. I still have a few things to take care of, but you'll be hearing from me again before long. Thanks to her encouragement, my heart, which was as weak as a marmot, has now grown a bit tougher. Tough enough to match a pudding. Jude is pleased with your effort. He now only considers you to be a marginally scary individual. Okay, Jude, how do we continue? Desiree, just the woman I wanted to see. I have another request to make of you. Would you be up to the task? Sure. Give it to me. Thank you. I need you to craft for this to be the heart and soul of the Starlands. You see, an ordinary telescope picks up on starlight, whereas the Starlands captured ethereal flickers. This requires what is known as an ethereal lens. Well, of course, materials of a high grade are important. It is the craftsmanship that determines quality, to which I turn to you. What is the next thing we need? The ethereal lens. Palm lumber, almusty serge, and luncheon total leather. Alright. Alright, time to be crafting. Right. Have you managed to finish the ethereal lenses? These are what will allow us to pick up on the ethereal firmaments in the distance. Okay. Magnificent. Even with the untrained eye, it's easy to see the craftsmanship is second to none. With this ethereal lens, we will be able to detect even the most distant of ethereal bodies. Once again, I am indebted to you. We are still in the early stages of a journey, but I hope we can continue to press forward with the same amount of fervor. Jude, sequestering yourself in such confined quarters will eventually take a toll on your mental health. Come, there's fun to be had in the outside world. And what exactly does this fun you speak of entail? Allow me to illustrate. I began this morning with a splendid cup of freshly brewed coffee from the last stand. Shortly thereafter, we all gathered at Orc's Landing to perform a public poetry recital. I have no poems to recite. There's a spirit that counts. Poetry will help you learn to express yourself more fully, Jude. In fact, why don't you give it a try right now? Make sure you really put your feelings into it. I suppose I can give it a try if it means I can become a bit more like you? A soul shrouded by the dark abyss, the tears that pour forth as blood-stricken rain, solidify the poison that nestles in my heart. The world returns to nothingness. I regress. Perhaps you need not delve so deeply into your feelings. That aside, now that you have a taste of what our sessions entail, and what it is like to live every day to the fullest. With your grades and brain, changing faculties should be fairly straightforward. By my next visit, I expect you'll have joined the Faculty of Literature and our Poetry Club. While I know Jerome intends well, abandoning my studies in pursuit of literature would mean relinquishing my dreams of locating the Azure Star. If your resolve is so weak, perhaps you should consider moving. You're absolutely right. The whole reason I joined the studium and this association was to see my goals through. Thank you for always being so supportive and returning me to my senses. Good. I just wonder why Jerome is so unrelenting in his attempt to have me withdraw from my studies. I do not understand. Astronomy was his first love. Though we were momentarily sidetracked, I would like to thank you once again for your help. I'm eager to continue our work together. With you by my side, the resolve in my heart is hardened, and I feel as though the strength of a chocobo rages within me. Jude is delighted with your effort. He now considers you an individual that takes time to warm up to strangers. Desiree, let's jump straight into the next part of the process. I asked that you could craft another vital part of the star lens. You see, the operation of this particular type of telescope requires a highly specialized magic. While I understand the mechanics behind this magic, the sheer volume required far surpasses that at my disposal. Please, might you be so kind as to craft ethereal amplifiers for me? There's no word to express how thankful I am. Not only are you assisting me with procuring the star lens, but you continue to encourage me every step of the way. The studium deliveries list for Jude has been updated. So what do we need next? Ethereal amplifiers. Red pine lumber, snow linen, and Saiga leather. Alright, Jude. Time to get crafting. Alright, Jude. With the ethereal amplifiers, I should finally be able to channel enough magic to operate our starlands. Desiree, it's absolutely perfect, thank you! I've just finished looking over the last delivery. We're so close to having all the parts necessary to begin assembly. Jude, today must be a lucky day. The ever-busy Jeremiah has decided to grace you with his presence. Oh no, strangers! Who are these people? I know they're here to extort coin from me. Must report them to the student's guard post haste. Thinking aloud again, are we? You need not worry, they're with me. In fact, they're members of a poetry group I mentioned. I brought them here so everyone could get acquainted. Nice to meet you, Jude. She's speaking to me? Of course she's speaking to you. That is, of course, the reason we're here, is it not? Ah, you must be the craftswoman assisting Jude. Do also feel free to drop in on one of our poetry meets sometime. Should it strike your fancy? So what do you think? A magnificent group of people, are we not? We were just on our way to the last stand. Would you care to join us? Steady now, Jeremiah is trying to help you. He knows you have no friends and is attempting to coax you out of your shell. You really should be thankful, truly. Absolutely not. Apologies, but I'm currently in the middle of producing something known as a Starlands. Perhaps another time. What is this nonsense? Come on, Jude, join us if just this one time. Only regret awaits should you continue down this dark path. How can you say that with such certainty? Trust me, he knows exactly what he's talking about. Please, that's enough. Let us just be on our way, shall we? Having to meet new people is quite draining, I must say. However, I'm rather proud of myself. Normally I would have been so nervous even the thought of speaking would cause me to lose consciousness. I must be going. You are improving. It is you I have to thank, Desiree. Your continued support has allowed me to really blossom. Thank you. Now enough about me. We're so close to the finish line. With just a bit more work, the Starlands will be complete. Before we proceed, however, there's one thing I must confirm. Please, come back to see me when you next find the time. Thanks to Desiree, the chocobo in my heart has transformed into a mighty goblin. A mighty goblin. Jude is overjoyed with your efforts. He now considers you a good-natured individual. A new quest is now available. Upon its completion, the delivery list will update. Good, but I make a cut here and we continue this next time. Until then, I'm Mace and don't get lost.